Everybody, welcome to the final round of our 1991 F1 series coming to you from Adelaide in Australia. I am Jason White. I will be your play-by-play announcer for this event. We're very glad to have you with us for what is likely to be our last broadcast of 2024. It's been an exciting season and we're looking forward to 2025 with much anticipation. Our F1 drivers are on their warm-up session, as you can see. Let me run down the top 10 for you in qualifying as time expired. On the pole for this race in a unique matchup, Anders Nilsson driving a one-off for Ferrari with a time of 1 minute 12.778. Second, just 0.3 of a second back, Jules Bouchard. Third, Ray Radal. Fourth, Gabriel Del Piccolo. Fifth, Grant Radal. Sixth, Giovanni Santarami. Seventh, Cesare Schlipinski. 8th, David Saber. 9th, Brian Janik. And 10th, Nicholas Kirsten. That is your top 10 in qualifying for this last race of the 1991 F1 campaign, the Australian Grand Prix. So here we are at the Adelaide Street Circuit. This is a venue that has been the stage for many exciting, if unusual, events over the years. 2 races in torrential rain, a title decided by a blown tire, a controversial collision between Damon Hill and Michael Schumacher, which was also title deciding, a fastest lap by Satoru Nakajima, Nigel Mansell's final F1 victory. You get the idea. This is a circuit where it seems like anything can happen and usually does. And since we have our titles decided and championship pressure is off for everybody, we can expect our drivers to go for broke, aiming for one last moment of glory in 2024. As a track, Adelaide presents several good overtaking opportunities, which is not something you often hear about a street course. And because we have an 81 lap distance here, the victory may well go to the driver with superior experience and concentration skills, not necessarily the fastest driver. So it should be a very interesting afternoon. We're glad that you can all join us on YouTube to watch this. It should be a lot of fun. So we want to take a moment to give a very heartfelt thank you to everyone who donated to us to help our server renewal for 2025. Indeed, we received a big uptick in the contributions in the last month, and it was enough to secure the renewal for our server on December 1st. So we can now turn our full attention to a new year of exciting racing and perhaps a few surprises along the way. And we are beyond grateful for your support of ISO. You, the members, the viewers, the fans, you are what makes this league fun and exciting. Without you, it is not fun and exciting. That is not hyperbole. It is a fact. So be sure to practice and stay loose over the holidays so you can hit the ground running in 2025. I know I will be doing that. And also, I want to extend a personal thanks and appreciation, recognition to our admins, laboratory members, and their developers for all the great work they've been doing behind the scenes in 2024. Alberto Ibanez, Richard Coxon, Juha Boss, David Saber, Richard Wilkes, Johnny Aces, Tim Hilla, Matthew Sibignani, Martin Lucina, Brian Janik, and others. These are people who work hard to keep this league, the server, and the forum running, not to mention the hard work they and others do in preparing for the new season coming up. They are paid nothing. They do this because they love to do it. And without their tireless efforts, ISO would be rudderless, frankly. And as one of the founding members of this league, I want to assure everyone behind the curtain that their work and the hard work that they do is not taken for granted. Absolutely not taken for granted. And again, thank you, everybody else, very much indeed. So, as I mentioned, the titles have been decided, but let's go to the point standings anyway and see where we are heading into this race. You can see the little cup by Ray Radal's name there. That means that he has secured the championship. He has 96 points. Anders Nilsson is in second with 52 with that Ferrari underneath him. He's going to hope to get some more to pull him clear of Jules Bouchard, who's in third with 44. And then we got a tie for fourth place between David Saber and John Team at 23 points apiece. In the constructors' standings, that championship also over. Ken Williams' team is 101 points, and they are the champion. Second is Team 7-Up Jordan with 67 points. Third is Honda Marlboro McLaren with 56 points. Scuderia Ferrari is in fourth with 42 points, and then you have Braun Tyrrell Honda in fifth with 35 points. All right, so let's go out on the track here and see if we can find somebody to take us around. Somebody who is close to the end of a lap here. Someone who's just about to finish here. Let's see. Oh, if we hang on for a second, we can go around with our champion, Ray Radal, who has had an absolutely storybook year with this car, and he's meshed really well with it. And he's quick to point out that it is hard work to get the setup together. You don't just get in the car and drive it and win. But here we go now. We're going to go around Adelaide on the lap with Ray Radal, and he'll take us around the Foster's corner here. Accelerating on the main straight. You see the pits on the right. Hard to believe at times this is a street circuit because it looks like a purpose-built circuit. Now left, right through this chicane, heading uphill on Wakefield Road towards Wakefield Corner. This is a right-hander. Now we head back the other way through East Terrace, left-hander here. Onto Flinders Street, now another right-hander onto Hutt Street. Accelerating, third, fourth gear. Now through this left-right flick up to Stag Turn, another right-hander. Down to second gear, now accelerating downhill on Jones Strait through Brewery Bend here. Some people will go over that curb, and that's dangerous to do that. Now down the long Jack Brabham Straight, fastest part of the circuit, where a lot of the overtaking will likely take place. Downshifting now to first into Racetrack Hairpin, accelerating out. We're back on Wakefield Street for a brief moment here. Now back to the left. It's easy to overcook it on that corner and run into the gravel. Left, then right, and now downshifting for the final corner, back onto the pit straight. That's one lap. Let's go for one more lap here of Adelaide. Downshifting to second for this chicane once again, and the curbs here are rather tall. You got to be careful with them. Fourth, downshifting now to second for Wakefield Corner, and here's there's a car running off there. Well, Ray's going to pack it in here. So that was at least 1 1/3 laps of Adelaide, but that gives you an idea of what our drivers will be up against. It is a street circuit, but it's actually a pretty wide street circuit. It's going to give them some room to move around, and we may see some side-by-side racing in some parts of the track you wouldn't expect. So that's something to keep an eye on here as we get ready for this race. Coming up at ISO, and this is not going to be televised, but we do have one more race to run after this one, or one more event. There's actually 2 races within the event. It's the British Grand Prix support race with 1996 British touring cars. Our final round in this series, round 13 of 13, Sunday, December 15th. There are plenty of cars. Actually, I don't know that there are many cars available because it looked like there was only one on the forum. But in any case, it's going to be on the 15th. And the race number 1, that will start at 2000 CET. So if any cars drop out of there or people aren't able to make it because of holiday commitments, maybe you can jump in there and grab one of those cars. Who knows? But in any case, that's going to be the last race of the year for us, 2024. And then we move on to 2025, which is going to be really exciting. 1987 Indy cars, DRM 1979 Division 2, and of course, there There will be some surprises along the way in the form of LVT and maybe some other stuff later in the year. We'll see. So, trivia question also for you to ponder ahead of this race. In the actual 1991 Australian Grand Prix, how many drivers retired before the race was stopped due to heavy rain? Was it A6, B9, C12? We'll have the answer later on in the broadcast. There goes Ray again. See how much time we have here. About 7 and 8 minutes or so. So we have some time to watch some other people go around this circuit. Here's John Thiem, winner last time out at the Japanese Grand Prix. He did not qualify in the top 10, but I would think that it'd be a mistake to count him out. Here he is in his McLaren. Coming up to Wakefield Bend. Oh, goodness! A Leighton House there losing parts in front of him. That's one of the dangers of a street circuit, is that you're in a canyon and you can't really see too well around the corner. And that's where the warning of yellow flags will come into play to make sure that everybody understands what's going on. Ooh, look at Thiem. He looks like he's got a lot of rear wing there, just the graphics showing that, but it looks as if he's really pushing the car, and it's twitching a bit. But I wouldn't count out John Thiem today. He's looking pretty good, and especially coming off that win in Japan, he's going to be really eager to capitalize on that momentum. Wilkes is in the race today, driving a LaRousse for some reason. I'm not sure why, but maybe just interested in trying something different before the season's over. That's what a few people are doing here. We mentioned Anders Nilsson. Let's see if he's on the track anywhere. Does not appear he is. That's Saber, his teammate. Yeah, the Ferraris are not on the track at the... Yeah, Anders is in the garage, but he is driving a Lacey's Ferrari today. He's got the pole position, and I'm sure he'll be looking to cap off 1991 F1 with a really fun race, one that will hopefully result in victory for him. That's what he would like, but we'll see what happens. Again, championships decided. Look at this right here. I can't see the name, but it's one of the it's Del Piccolo's practice starting here, which is important to do. You want to make sure that you can put the power to the road, and every circuit has different levels of grip about it. So there's Del Piccolo doing a couple of burnouts, a couple of practice starts, just to make sure you can get away cleanly and efficiently. You don't want to spin the tires too much, but at the same time you don't want to creep off the line. Look at everybody taking the wide line off of Brewery Bend there. It's really I wouldn't be surprised if we see that claim some people. Here is Jules Bouchard in the McLaren. And, he's had an excellent year. The second half of the year was excellent because at first he was in the Jordan, I believe, and didn't really enjoy that car too much. But once he got out from underneath that, he was able to put together a series of very nice performances. Oops, little miscue there. But it'll be interesting to see how he does in this race. Ray Riddall again, our champion. Let's see who else is out here. Saw Wilkes. This is David Watman driving the much maligned Ligier Lamborghini. And this is a situation where I think the highest a Ligier Lamborghini has finished in this series has been 7th. They have not scored 1 point yet. So if David could score a point driving the Thierry Boutsen mount, that would be great. Of course, staging this 91 Grand Prix, it's one of these situations where, we can't recreate what actually happened, the rainstorm, nor did we particularly want to. So, we're going to have bright sunshine, which they did not have in 1991. here. There's Oscar team, actually, who's driving one of the Benettons. I believe that is the Benetton of Bruno Chacon, so he is not going to be in this race. And Oscar is, he's the kind of guy who, if he doesn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all. But hopefully he'll find some good luck with this car on this circuit today. And here also is Salvatore Sirignano driving the Fonmetal. Here's a rare chance to be on board with a Fonmetal. And he is braking for racetrack hairpin. You can see it's easy to lock up the car there heading into that hairpin. You don't want to do that too often. You try to bring it to a reasonable stop and then you have to accelerate out. So it's a bit of a challenging situation there. Here comes Mark Whitman, not doing the under tray of his AGS any good there as he clambers over the curbs. But Whitman's the guy who's had some spectacular starts in this car, and considering the attrition we're likely to see today, I would imagine we'd see engines braking, brake fade situations. People from the back, they might be able to get to the front. Again, it's an 81-lap race, so it's very, very difficult to maintain concentration, maintain your cool, and I think the person at the end who wins is going to be that kind of a driver, not necessarily the fastest one, but we'll see. Nilsson certainly very quick in the Ferrari, but we'll see if that translates into a win for him today. Centorami and his Tyrrell. The Tyrrell team had a good outing last time in Japan. Both cars finishing in the points, so I wouldn't count out the Tyrrell 020 in the hands of Giovanni Centorami. Here is Saber in his Ferrari 643. The sister car to this one is the one on the pole. And you'll notice the different helmet there. It's not Alain Prost's helmet because Alain Prost was fired by Ferrari in 1991 before they got to Adelaide because he had called the 643 a truck, I believe is what he actually said. And so that is Gianni Morbidelli filling that slot for them. And here's Lipinski, who had a good qualifying session. He's starting 7th in his Minardi Ferrari. Ruben Fernandez, who did not place in the top 10 this time, but he's had some very good qualifying sessions. We'll see how he does in the race. Drexler, not in the top 10, but again, I think he's, under the right circumstances, he can make this car go fast. Just has to be in a comfortable situation. And here is Anders Nilsson. This is our pole sitter driving Jean Alesi's Ferrari, following he's actually following probably the car that he left. In any case, that's Philip Witasek, who's doing a one-off drive with Jordan in this race, but I'm sure Anders Nilsson is excited to uncork a drive in this Ferrari 643, yellow flag leading into this section. Somebody's off. Not anymore, but in any case, looks like Anders is pretty well confident and ready to go. He goes back to the garage, and it looks like that session is over. Yes, the session has completed, so we'll be going to the race session momentarily here. 22 cars will take the green light. And we're waiting for it to click over here. 2 hours are on the board there. $81 laps. Okay, so here we go. We're ready for the start of the warm-up lap, and as soon as they pull away, I will give you the full grid for this final F191 race of the series. Anders is in the garage, and maybe He's going to wait until the very last minute to get out there because he doesn't want his car to overheat. We all have heard this before. Sorry. Good evening to Jay Racer. Good evening, Barry Lynn. All right, here we go. Grid is being populated. And as they pull away, we will take a look at the grid for this race. And away we go on the parade lap. On the pole, Anders Nilsson in a one-off drive for Ferrari, the 643. Second place, Jules Bouchard, McLaren Honda, MP46. In third is Ray Radal, Williams Renault, FW14. Fourth, Gabriel Del Piccolo, Delara Judd. That's a great qualifying position for that car. Then we have the two Tyrrells led by Grant Radal in fifth place and then Giovanni Centrami in sixth place. Seventh is Cesare Slipinski in the Minardi Ferrari. Eighth is David Saber in his Ferrari. Ninth, Brian Janik in the Delara Judd. 10th, Nicholas Kirsten, Jordan Ford, J191. 11th, Ruben Fernandez, Lakehouse Elmore. 12th, Miguel Drexler, Williams Renault. 13th, Robin DeVos, Lotus Judd. 14th, Oscar Team, Benetton Ford, B191. 15th, Salvatore Sirignano in the Fonmetal Fomet 1. David Watman in the Ligier Lamborghini. 16th, that's pretty good for that car. 17th, Philip Wietasek, Jordan Ford, J191 in a guest drive. 18th, Richard Wilkes in a LaRousse this time. 19th, Mark Matthias Whitman. We'll see if he can get another great start. AGS Ford, JH25B. Jonathan Esserklin starting in the pit lane with the Kalani. Interesting. 21st, Simon Watman in the other Lotus. And then rounding out the field, warming up his tires. Must have came to qualifying late or didn't practice or didn't take part in it, perhaps. But John Team is starting last in his McLaren Honda. Watch for him to fly up through the field as quickly as he possibly can. I'm sure the others there know Simon and Whitman and others. They know that he's coming through. He won't have to overtake Johnny Aces because he'll be starting from the pit lane once the traffic light turns green there. All right, so Anders now coming up to the starting grid. People weaving around, getting their tires up to an operating temperature as close as they can to. Here's Anders coming towards the grid now, approaching the line, and you can see they're doing little mini burnouts. Having those tires warm and sticky is vital to getting a good launch. So cars are now all slotting in. As soon as we see Anders Nilsson's name on the left there flicker, we'll know that they're under starter's orders. All the cars pulling into position. John Team, the last one there to pull in. And there we go. Stand by for the start of the Australian Grand Prix. And the race is underway. Good getaway by Anders, but an even better getaway by Jules Bouchard, who goes into the lead into the chicane. Bouchard leads. Nilsson is second. It appears that Ray Radal is up to third place. Oh my goodness, ran over a curb there. And then you have Del Piccolo dicing with him on the outside as they head through the first series of left and right-handers. And my goodness, already some real drama as Jules has taken the lead in his McLaren. And you see Nilsson has dropped to second. Ray Radal is in third. Grant is fourth. Checking here to make sure everybody gets through unscathed. It looks like everybody's got all their parts and pieces, which is great to see. Jules now heading onto the Brabham Straight, so he had a faster getaway than Anders did. And you see Ray Radal being tailed by the two Tyrrells, and then we have Slipinski in sixth place, seventh Del Piccolo, eighth Ruben Fernandez, ninth is Janik, but not for long. It looks like he's going to overtake, well, no, not really. And then ninth is David Saber, 10th Nicholas Kirsten. We can see people are trying to gain some advantage there at the racetrack hairpin. Hard to do so. Here we come down to complete lap number 1. Jules Bouchard is in the lead in his McLaren. So it will be a McLaren-Ferrari battle. I'm quite certain of that as they come through. Nilsson second, Ray Riddall third, Grant Riddall is fourth, Centorami fifth, Schlapinski sixth, seventh is Del Piccolo, eighth, Ruben Fernandez. That's a great start for him. Brian Janik ninth, and David Saber down to 10th. So now you have to settle in and get into some sort of a rhythm here, and that's, I'm sure, what Bouchard's trying to do now. He accomplished what he wanted to on the start. He got away faster than Anders Nilsson. You see him there. Riddall made an excellent start, maintaining his third place as they all come through stag turn here. Oscar still running. Down the Brabham Straight. And the gap right now is about 1.3 seconds between Anders Nilsson and first place. Then there's Ray, Grant Riddall, Centorami, and look, there's Del Piccolo trying to take, I don't think he quite got there, but he was trying to take one of the Delaras on the inside. Down to complete lap number 2. There goes Jules. So if you're Nilsson here, you're looking to get close enough that you can start to put some pressure on the first place car. But he's got a little ways to do that yet. He's not quite up there with Bouchard yet. Bouchard had an excellent start. Definitely got quite a lot of a roll, but cars are full of fuel, and I'm sure that Anders doesn't want to do anything stupid. Just want to spoil what should be a good race with this Ferrari right out of the gate. So probably is playing it a bit on the conservative side right now. Oh, we got a yellow flag up here and a tire. That's Philip Wojciech. Yeah, and he's out of the race. So that'll be the first retirement. Let's take a look at a replay of what happened here to Philip. It appears, see, this is what I was afraid of. It looks like he hit the wall coming off of, well, that's really strange. I wonder what happened there. He seems fine here. And then all of a sudden he runs clear into the barrier. I don't know what that's about. That's really weird. That could be a hardware failure on his end. In any case, he is most definitely, he's taken the whole left side of the car off and both wings, so he's out of the race, no question. And you see there, Bouchard had to dodge to miss the rear tire. Everybody having to take evasive action. So that's our first retirement right there. And Ruben Fernandez is also out of the race. Not sure how that happened, but he's out as well. So 2 retirements already, 20 cars still running. My goodness. Meanwhile, Jules is continuing to lead here. The gap is increasing. It's up to 2.5 seconds. Here's Ray Riddall in third place. The 2 Tyrrells running together, Grant and Giovanni. And then here's Schlapinski in 6th, Del Piccolo 7th, Janik in 8th, David Saber in 9th, and he's got Nicholas Kirsten right behind him here. John Team, see how far he's come up the field? John Team is up 11 places from the start. Well, we expected that because he's driving a car far superior to everything else that was around him, and now he's trying to take Kirsten here for 10th place. Into the final corner. He's really chomping at the bit to get around Kirsten. I don't know if here's the best place to do it, but he's definitely having a look here and there. Things have calmed down to some extent now up front here. Jules Bouchard in the lead. Let's have a long look here down the Brabham Straight. Here comes Nilsson in second place. Then you have Raymerdahl in third. Here come the two Tyrrells, and things getting a bit dicey here. Janik in eighth place. And there's Team popping out and taking Kirsten at the end of the straight. Bouchard completes lap number 5, starts lap number 6. Lipinski, he's basically where he started. He'd really like to get ahead of Del Piccolo, but it looks like these guys are pretty well spread out at this point. Next target for John Team will be David Saber. So now he's getting into the cars that are about equal to his or close to equal in terms of performance. So he's going to see if he can get alongside him at some point here. John's car looked pretty nervous when he was practicing earlier in the warm-up, but see what happens here as he slips through Brewery Bend. Definitely a fast car, this McLaren. Downshifting now for the hairpin. Tyrrell team are looking really strong here, looking to make it another race possibly where both cars score points. Grant Riddall running ahead of his teammate Centorami. They're both up 1 position from the start. Del Piccolo's down 2, so he needs to try to get back up with these two. He would like to. Through this section, it's really the only way you can really overtake someone is somebody who makes a mistake. But once you get on the Brabham Straight, there's the obvious place that you can get it done, so to speak. A lot of people heading over that curve. That's pretty dangerous stuff. You don't want to do that too much, or you might end up in that wall to the left. Heading down towards racetrack hairpin. Del Piccolo and Lipinski not far behind this group. Janik in 8th, 9th Saber, and team is definitely worrying David Saber here now that he's dispensed with Nicholas Kirsten. Now he's starting to harry David Saber. It's going to be 2 V12s versus each other in this race. Let's see what happens here. Can he get a good purchase off the final turn? He does, but of course there's not really much of a chance to capitalize on it here. He goes into the left-right chicane, accelerating up the hill. Oh my goodness, that car looks very nervous indeed. Heading into Wakefield turn. Now back to the left. To the right. Looks like some teeth at the bottom of the circuit there if you look at the map. Now the left-right leads him into Stag turn. This is relatively quick. Second gear here. Keep in mind that the Ferrari works with a different gearbox as a 7-speed as opposed to the 6-speed most of these cars carry. So, but look at this. He got a really good roll off that corner. He might dive down the inside and try to take David here. He's having a bit of a look, but no, he decides it's not a good idea. He locks the tires in the front there, trying to brake for a hairpin. Very easy to do that. Brake balance, very important here. Also brake cooling, very important. But look at this, Saber, definitely a little tardy on the exit there. And here comes John. Is he going to make an attempt here? No. You can see David sweeping across in a defensive posture there. Now they exit the turn, and it looks like team is right with him for a second, but Saber using all the power he can in that Ferrari to get ahead and close the door. Bouchard still in the lead, Nilsson second, Ray Riddall third, Grant Riddall fourth, Centorami fifth, Del Piccolo is sixth, seventh is Schlapinski, eighth Janik, ninth, you're looking at him, is David Saber, and we're looking from the 10th place car of John Team. The winner in Japan. Downshifting for Stag Turn. Now this is where the big chance is. If he can get through Brewery Bend faster than David, it's really, really delicate. This is that's easily the most dangerous corner on the circuit. Now, can he get up alongside David before they get to the end here? He's popping out, having a look, but he decides, no, that's not a good idea. So it's going to probably be, it's funny how overtakes, they take several laps to plan. You don't just do them on the spur of the moment, not unless someone makes a mistake. But this seems to be the place right here where David is the most vulnerable. He doesn't seem to like that corner right there. Before they get to their hairpin, now they're coming off, but of course, 12 cylinders again. Not that the Honda's a slouch, but David's putting the power down really good here. This is easily the hottest battle on the circuit at the moment, as pretty much everybody else is holding station at the moment. The gap has increased between the leader and Nilsson. Is now 3 seconds. And look at that, actually. Grant has pulled out a huge gap between himself and Centorami. Not sure what precipitated that, but Del Piccolo now very close to Centorami. And Saber's still defending himself against the red and white McLaren of John Team. John's too far back this time to attempt anything. He's been closer before. There's a rear wing. Somebody is missing a rear wing out there. Let's see who it is. It could be Simon Watman because he's out of the race. Let's see if we can get a... No, it's too far back, but it looks as if that rear wing probably belonged to Simon Watman. I don't see anybody else. David Watman is out of the race. It could have been his rear wing. I'm not sure, but looks like we have several people who were out of the race at once there. Not sure what happened, but that's really too bad, especially in an 81 lap race to go out with only about 8 laps complete. Yeah, there's a big gap there now between Grant and his teammate Giovanni. I'm not sure how that happened. Maybe a mistake. But everybody else climbing all over themselves, trying to get close to Centorami. This is from Schlapinski's camera. Look at that. You can see Del Piccolo looking at Centorami, but can't get by. See racetrack, not hairpin. This is the final corner. Actually, that's interesting. Schlapinski short shifting there. Maybe he's trying to save the engine for later. I don't know. And look at this. Saber has actually opened a gap between himself and John Team. So Saber doing a good job of defending his 9th place from John, who's come from dead last on the grid all the way up to 10th. That's 12 places. Del Piccolo here running between Centorami and Schlapinski. Here's Grant. He's looking to lap Johnny Aces, who looks like he's been off the track for a moment. There he goes by. Johnny doesn't give him any trouble. Of course not. Okay, this is interesting. Nilsson is starting to fall backwards into the... It's getting... Looks to be that Ray is getting closer. There they are both overtaking Whitman. So it's a bit early, but they're already starting to overtake, and Sirignano's out of the race too. That's really too bad. So we have already 5 retirements in this race, and we're not even, we're just 12 laps into the race. So, my goodness, it's only been about 16 minutes. We lost 5 cars. There's this another car that we've lost now. DeVos is out of the race, and we don't have a replay of that when it happened too long ago. So both Loti are out of the race. That's really too bad. So, and here's John again looking at the back of David Saber's Ferrari. Looks like he took a bit of a break there. Now he's back at it again. But even on a circuit as wide as this one, track positions everything. You have to make hay while you can. And John's seeing, like everybody, oh, John, be careful. Oh my goodness, see, look how much time he lost there just because he ran over the curb and had to lift off the throttle to settle the car. So it'll give David a bit of a respite. And it appears now that Ray is definitely closing on Anders Nilsson. Anders is kind of losing touch there with the leader, but there's a car in between them. It is Oscar team. Oscar lets Nilsson through. Now, does he know that Ray is there also? Oscar running by himself here, so he's not involved in a battle. Oscar pulls right to the side and lets Ray through, very gentlemanly of him. And Ray negotiates Brewery Bend quite well. That is the most dangerous part. That's interesting. I don't know how that happened, but Richard Wilkes is 4 laps down. He must have incurred some kind of damage and had to come in and do a stop, because even with DeVos out of the race, he's still ahead of Wilkes even now. So eventually, Wilkes will advance to 16th place, but there must have been some kind of coming together that caused Wilkes to have to go into the pits. That's the only way that would happen. But look at this. Ray is definitely closing on Nilsson, 2nd place. Nilsson started on the pole, but at a slower getaway than Jules Bouchard, who is our current leader. You can see him just disappearing ahead of Nilsson there. There he is. In the far distance, you can see the leader. Nilsson's in 2nd, and we're with Ray Radal, champion of this series, who is in 3rd place in his Williams Renault. So this is something to watch up here. It looks as if Ray may be faster than the people in front of him by a little bit here. Not by too much, but we'll see what happens as we get closer to tire stops. It'll be interesting, though, to see if anyone actually goes for tire stops. We've been surprised in past races here. Those of you who have watched other races run in this series, a lot of times there will be people at the front who won't stop for tires. So it's conceivable that some people may be doing that, and others may be planning on one tire stop. We won't really know until they happen or not happen. So something to think about. And that shows you the distance there between 17 seconds between Ray Radal and his son Grant. That gives you an idea of the performance difference between the Williams Renault and this Tyrrell Honda, which is a good car, but just not quite as incredible as the Williams Renault. And here comes Centorami. Oh, and it's getting very close here between Del Piccolo and Schlapinski for 6th place. Taking Whitman there. Actually, that helped out Gabriel. He actually gained some time there. Yeah, that's going to give Del Piccolo a bit of a rest there. going on over here. John Team still at the back of David Sabre. See if he gets through Bury Ben better. Yes, much better. That's exactly what you got to do. You just got to kind of float the car through there. Whitman gets out of the way. Uh-oh, there's Janik in 8th place. They're closing on him rather rapidly, it looks like, so he may become part of this battle. Sabre now is definitely going to want to try to get by Janik and get away from Team, who is charging at the back of the Ferrari. Oh! I think Sabre made a miscalculation there. This may be John's chance. Well, Sabre did a good job recovering there. I think he attempted to overtake Brian there, and it just didn't happen the way he wanted it to. Downshifting. Right-hander here. Now back to the left. These three running really close together. Again, John came from dead last on the grid, so he is up 12 places from his starting point. And now he's kind of caught in a traffic jam here. Sabre, I think, he'd like to get by, but then if he does, he's just going to be stuck between Sabre and Janik. I don't know if that's necessarily a better situation right now, but look at Sabre pulling out using the V12 power of that Ferrari, and he gets by Janik into 8th place. So now it's Janik's turn to get hounded by John Team. Riding on board with Janik now. Into the final turn, and Team trying to get good purchase off of that corner. He does. Now is he going to be able to get by? He's right alongside here. Does he get by? Yes, he... Oh, no, he doesn't. Oh, my goodness, there's contact there. But Team is still in a position where he can do it. Let's see. No, he's going to back off here. But my goodness, that was very, very close indeed. You saw a little bit of overlap there. It's a good thing that the collision models for these cars are not absolutely precise. They're a little bit forgiving. If they weren't, then things could get really, really difficult. Into the, oh my goodness. All right, Team now definitely has a roll. He'll probably be able to get him here, yes. There goes Team. Oh, is he able to get the inside line? He has it. Is he going to get the... Yes, he does. Just slightly there. He clips Brian, but he's able to get it done. So now John's up to 9th, and he's going to be trying to get back into contact with David Sabre. But Sabre's actually quite a far bit up the road here. He's got a little bit of... Oh! David runs over the curb. That's not going to do his undercarriage any good. But in any case, heading to the next corner here is Sabre. And look at the... it even looks now like John's starting to reel him back in again. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that battle. And... there's still a fair bit of distance here between Radal and the second place car of Nilsson. The gap between Bouchard and Nilsson is staying at about 3.5 seconds. So it's not really increasing much beyond that point. It was 4 seconds at one point, now it's 4. But it'll be really interesting to see how this plays out with the top 3 here. As the tires wear down and as people start to get tired. We'll see what happens. Heading into, I believe, that stag turn right there. We're watching from the chopper shot now. Lots of trees in the way. Then this is Bury Bend. Now they're on to the grab him straight. Yeah, it's pretty static up front here for the moment. Grant Woodall in fourth. And that was Del Piccolo back there in seventh place. So yeah, these three are kind of right together in the circuit, but not much in the way of battle. Now Sabre is going to come under attack from Team again. Sabre in 8th place. Team is in 9th. You see how that Brewery Bend really unsettles the car. Now they're coming down to the hairpin once again. Flame shooting out the back of the Ferrari as he downshifts. Downshifting for the hairpin one more time. Team is in 9th. With Sabre definitely driving very efficiently right now, putting the power down very well. And getting through these that chicane very well, actually. With minimal hyperbole. Looks like his back end is a bit looser than it was a few laps ago. Maybe his rear tires are starting to heat a bit beyond what they should. Here's the corner that really gives everybody trouble. Wakefield. Not Wakefield, sorry, it's Brewery Bend. I think Sabre's safe this time. Slipinski just, ooh, a little bit of a lockup there from Slipinski. I think that surprised Sabre. Slipinski actually, interesting, I wonder what's going on there. He's going to the pit lane. Why is that? Because he's missing a front wing, that's why. Well, there goes Slipinski's race, unfortunately. In Roberto Moreno's Minardi, he is stopping for a new wing, and that is going to move everybody up the chain. Sabre is now in 7th. The team is in 8th. Del Piccolo's 6th. Here's Oscar trying to get out of the way of everybody. Oh my goodness! Careful, careful. Okay, so Oscar's just ahead here. I doubt he's going to really be a problem to overtake, but anytime you have the added, that's interesting. I wonder why Oscar moving to the left there, apparently trying to signal to the drivers that he wants them to go that way, so that they go around on the right. John lost a bit of time there, but I'm sure he'll gather it back up relatively quickly. And things are pretty much the same at the front here, with Nilsson following Bouchard, the leader. Actually, the gap is decreased. It's down to 2 seconds now. It was almost 4 seconds before, so it's been cut in half. And they've got Whitman between the two of them here. Whitman making room. And now Nick Anders is a clear shot at Bouchard. Gap is about 2 seconds now, so it could be just variance from passing cars that were being lapped. That's one possibility. Or it could just be a bad trip through Brewery Bend. You never know. But Nilsson driving very cleanly right now, and having that car in front of you to follow is a nice carrot. It really does spur you on. It's hard to keep going quickly when you can't see the person you're pursuing. When you see the person you're pursuing like this, it does give you added tonic and just makes you want to go that much faster. And Let's see what happens when they get up to Brewery Bend here. This is the bend that's been causing people a lot of trouble. Very good, very excellent execution by Anders there. 6 retirements so far: Robin DeVos, Salvatore Sirignano, David Watman, Simon Watman, Ruben Fernandez, and Philip Wietzek are out of the race. And that leaves 16 cars in the race. We started with 22. Looking back now from Anders, and you can see Ray has actually lost some ground to him. So things are pretty static at the front here. Here's Del Piccolo running pretty close to Centorami in a position where he might want to try and overtake. Getting down to the end of the Jack Brabham straight. He's got a good toe, but definitely not close enough yet to... Oh, and there, if you look now, there is John Team. He's in 7th place. Sabre out of the race. Something's happened to David Sabre. Let's see if we can go back. It was early. If we were early enough, maybe we can catch it. But something happened. My guess it was it was absolutely an accident. Yes, here we go. Sabre, and it's at Brewery Bend, of all places, of course. No, actually, this is not Brewery Bend. This is earlier. Yeah, this is Wakefield turn. All right, let's have another look here. He was passed by John Team. Loses the back end and goes right into the tire barriers at Wakefield turn. So that's the end of the race for Sabre, unfortunately. Oh, too bad. And we have another Slipinski sliding there, doing something similar, but you won't want to be doing too much of that. He's in 11th. I think he's trying to catch up after all the time he lost by changing a front wing or getting it replaced. Back to this battle. Here is Gabriel Del Piccolo following Centorami. He might be setting him up here. No, he decides not to. But he is definitely close. If he wanted to make an attempt, it's good. Bouchard first, Nilsson second, Ray Riddall third, Grant Riddall fourth, Centorami fifth, Del Piccolo sixth. We're looking at Del Piccolo right now. Then 7th is Team. 8th is Brian Janik. 9th is Nicholas Kirsten. 10th is the other Williams of Mikael Drexler. And we're on lap 26 out of 81. Del Piccolo really hanging with Centorami here, driving very quickly. Look at that. Oh, he goes up the inside and takes him. I think he caught Centorami sleeping there, but wow, he just swept right by. Centorami wants to get back in front, but it's too late. Del Piccolo advances to 5th place. Wow, that was very opportunistic driving by Gabriel Del Piccolo there. He just saw an opening, went for it, and got it, and not in a place that you'd expect. I think Centorami might have been somewhat distracted there just for a second. And now Centorami has the fast approaching McLaren to deal with of John Team. Up 15 places from the start. He missed qualifying, or at least didn't take part in any appreciable way. We got more cars here that our leaders are having to lap, and this time is Johnny Aces. But it can sometimes unwittingly cause you to gain or lose time. Cars cannot simply vaporize, and there's Johnny Aces making plenty of room for Ray Riddall, getting right out of the way. That's the nice thing about this Adelaide circuit. It's much wider than your average street circuit. Similar in a lot of ways to Phoenix, which has very wide straightaways. This one has very wide, not only the main straight, but the rest of the track is also pretty wide too. These are normal, everyday city streets. It's not a racetrack in a purpose-built sense. But if you look at some of the streets via the camera in the chopper, you can see. Let's see if I can get it in the chopper here. Yeah, if you look from this view, you see, you got a 2-lane street here, actually almost 3 lanes, and going into this turn. This one's fairly wide section. And in certain parts of the circuit, you can see that it's 3 lanes wide. So yeah, like right here, it's 3 lanes wide. So it's a lot roomier than most street circuits are. So Ray is trying to reel in Bouchard. Bouchard has to get by Kirsten, and Kirsten's in a pretty fast car. Nicholas Kirsten in 10th place. That gives you an idea of the, and he gets right out of the way of everybody. That was the 10th place car of Nicholas Kirsten. So that gives you an idea of the pace of this race at the front. We're just about to complete lap number 28, and we've got 9 cars on the lead lap. That's all. So that gives you an idea of the pace that's being set at the front by Jules Bouchard. There is Nilsson. There is Ray Radal. Still not really an appreciable difference here, as Ray has now gotten ahead of Kirsten. And look at this, Giovanni Centorami trying very hard to stay ahead, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it. Nope. Well, maybe he can. I don't know. Let's see. Going into the racetrack hairpin, he's trying to hang on. No, he can't. There goes John Team up to 4th place. We've had some people head for the pits here, it appears. Yeah, Grant Radal's down to 7th place, so apparently he made a pit stop. Either that, or he had some kind of a off-course excursion. That's really, now that I think about it, that's probably more likely. He's in 7th place. Janik now in 6th. And look at that. Team is now all the way up to 4th place. Incredible. I mean, some of that having to do with the retirement of some cars, but at the same time, that's a pretty amazing achievement, starting from dead last and getting all the way up to 4th place. Jules Bouchard is starting the 30th lap now, showing no signs of any fatigue or stress. He's driving very sensibly at the front. 2nd place, Anders Nilsson. 3rd, heading into the chicane now, is Radal. Ray. Team, who is actually quite a distance back, but still doing very good in 4th place. 5th place, Centorami. 6th is Brian Janik, the last points paying position. 7th, Grant Radal, after, I would guess, some kind of an off-course excursion. 8th, Mikael Drexler, up 4 places from the start. 9th, Nicholas Kirsten, who's now a lap down. And 10th, Cezarius Lipinski. He lost his front wing, so I would guess that we're not going to be seeing him head for the pits again if he can help it. 11th is Del Piccolo. So something happened to Del Piccolo. Either he's pitted or did something as a mistake. I'm not sure. 12th was Whitman, and 13th, Oscar Team. Oh, getting way out of shape. He's going to be got to be careful to make sure that doesn't happen too often. He's actually about to be lapped by the leaders again. Johnny Ace is in 14th with the Kalani. 15th is Wilkes, and he is way, way down, several laps down. And Saber was the last retiree, so which we saw. So Wilkes, the last car, running in 15th place. Second there, where is, oh, and Ray Radal has made a pit stop. Okay, so there's a tire change from Ray Radal, and it's amazingly, it's quite an amazing development. He didn't lose his 3rd place because he had so much time on John Team, but he chose to make a pit stop for tires with 30 laps done. That's incredible. It's very, very early, so he must have figured that he needed to change them immediately. And I mean, he will be able to get more out of these tires now because of the fact that the fuel load will be going down, and they'll last longer. They won't have as much weight to deal with. But very interesting that Ray would choose to make a pit stop that early. Team is in 4th, and he is 33 seconds back from Ray, so he was in no danger of losing 3rd place. But he's got 20 seconds now between him and Nilsson, and then there's 4 more seconds between Nilsson and the 1st place car of Jules Bouchard. His team getting around some back markers. Sid Tarami's losing touch with team at this point. Janik in 6th place. Grant trying to motor on in 7th. 8th is Drexler. Drexler may well get a points finish out of this race. We'll have to see what happens. And Kirsten is in 9th. Slipinski 10th after his damage that he had to repair. So the hard-charging John team has got a ways to go if he wants to get close to Ray Riddall. It's actually, the gap has actually increased to 33 seconds now. And the gap between Nilsson and the leader, as I said before, is 4 seconds plus. So that's increased. It was 2 seconds before, but now it's dropped back slightly. Grant has got one car in front of him here that he might be able to do battle with, and that is no, it's Janik actually. Grant Riddall driving the Tyrrell Honda 020, uses the engine that McLaren used in 1990. To the left, right before stag turn. Asserclint making room. He's actually using the outside escape road to help people get by. Runs right up, Grant does, on the curve exiting Brewery Bend. Here's Janik lapping Whitman just ahead of Grant, so Grant's going to want to get by Whitman as quick as he can, and Whitman makes room. People are being very courteous, I have to say. Not that I'm surprised, but that's great to see. Lots of gentlemanly racers here at ISO. Looks like he's just keeping pace with them now, but this Tyrrell 020 designed by Harvey Apostlepoit is no slouch. It is a fast car, and that Honda is particularly quick, so he's getting close to Janik here. He just needs to keep cool, and time is overtaken just the right time here. It's right into stag turn, now to Brewery Bend, where all the difficulty has been. Ooh. Doing that correctly lap after lap must be really difficult. You'll notice that the LCD display that's on this, that's on the Tyrrell Honda here is the same LCD display that you'll see on the McLaren Honda. So apparently, when you get the engine, you also get this display to go with it. And look at that, just in those small miscues just along the way, Grant's lost touch with Brian Janik, so it doesn't take much. Nilsson is still about 4 seconds back from the leader. He's not. Right behind Drexler now. This will be a slightly more. Well, Drexler slows down to make room for him, so. So it'll be interesting to see if either of these two decide to pit. We saw that Ray Riddall pit earlier. He actually He's not lost too much time here. There's 19 seconds between Ray and Anders Nilsson. This contest may be decided in the pits. I don't know. We'll see. Here is Grant chasing Brian again. It looks about the same as it did earlier. It doesn't look like he's gained too much time. You notice too that Grant is on the Pirelli tires, so the wear rate on those tires is different from, maybe that's why he go for the pits, or if it wasn't a off-course excursion, maybe that's why he went for the pits. The Pirellis were wearing faster than he thought they would be, but in any case, he's definitely closing now a little bit more on Janik. He's got good rebound there in those front dampers, critical here, because if you don't, it'll be very difficult to drive this race and avoid the curbs, because you can't do it all the time. He's slowly reeling Janik in here. This is the best battle in the circuit right now, if you can call it that. But oh, and the leader is coming up here, so this is going to make things interesting. As Bouchard comes up to lap these two. They're in contest with each other, so how they're able to get by is going to be interesting. Looking back from Janik's car, let's get the wing view. There we go. Oh, and you see Grant fishtailing there as he comes out of the corners. He's trying like mad to put all the power down that he can. He knows that the position that's in front of him is a points-paying position. Janik started 9th. He's now 6th. And look, Grant is definitely reeling him in. So it could be that Grant is on new rubber and he's using that to good effect. Definitely seems to be very comfortable in this section. And his car should produce more power than the Judd engine that is in the Dallara. Heading down the Grab him straight now. You can see he's definitely pulling on Brian Janik, but they come into the hairpin. He's going to be right with him as they exit. Good smooth driving from Grant here to slowly reel in. You can see Bouchard just behind these two, so eventually they'll have to deal with him and let him by. Starting again now. Grant is as close as he's been in a while here with Janik. So let's see, they're going into, oh, and Janik is now going to go for the pits. So that makes this fight academic because you see the wrench icon come on there. It's Brian telling his pits that he's ready for a pit stop. So in just a minute here, none of this will make any difference because Brian will come in. And these are both Pirelli shod cars, but we're theorizing that, and here goes, actually he's just, oh my goodness, he almost drove into the side of Grant there. He's not going to do that too much, but here's Grant zipping by now on the straight, and Janik probably figures, well, I'm going for the pits anyway, so what's the difference? 3 wide as Bouchard takes both cars at once. And Grant's still fighting with, of course, Grant has no knowledge that Janik is going into the pits. There goes Janik into the pit lane to change his tires. Nilsson also coming in, the second place car, to change tires. That's more significant because that means that Ray Radal, eventually, here you can see the seconds ticking away. He is going to go up potentially into second place here. It depends on how quickly Nilsson can exit. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Here comes Ray Radal, and he is in second place. Ray has passed, he's effectively overtaken Nilsson in the pit lane rather than on the racetrack. So Nilsson now down to third place. Both Ray and Nilsson have made tire stops. As far as we know, Bouchard has not, and he is now leading by an enormous 23-second gap. So if he wants to go for the pits, this would be a good time to do so. And there's no wrench icon for him, so he's not planning on going to the pits. So that was a genius move by Ray. He was able to get in and out of the pits faster than Nilsson was, and he's now got an 8-second lead on Nilsson for second place. Janik right behind, who's a lap down, it appears. Team is in fourth place still. Grant in fifth. Centrami sixth. Kirsten seventh. There's Janik, who's eighth. That's after his stop that he made. So 40 laps now. We're at half distance in this race. And not that we observed the 2-hour race limit, but it looks like we're going to reach we're going to get this race in under 2 hours because we're only 53 seconds, or 53 minutes and 47 seconds into the race, and it's 41 laps. It's a little over a half distance. So we're definitely going to get this in under 2 hours. Nope, Bouchard not going for the pits. He's going for another lap. So those of you who are tuning in now at half distance, with 41 laps complete, we're over half distance. Bouchard leads from second place on the grid. In second, Ray Radal, who is third on the grid. Pole sitter Anders Nilsson is third in a Ferrari. Fourth is John Team, who started dead last. He's made up 18 places and is now fourth. Fifth is Grant Radal. Sixth is Giovanni Centrami. Seventh is Nicholas Kirsten. Eighth is Brian Janik. Ninth, Cesare Slapinski. And 10th, Mikael Drexler. That's the top 10 at the moment. 11th, Oscar Team. So that's good for Oscar. I mean, a lot of times he's usually out of the race by now, and he's not. So that's great. 10th, sorry, wrong way. 12th is Whitman, and he is also a guy who tends to exit early, and he is still in the race. 13th, Wilkes, minus 3 laps. 14th, Johnny Ace is out of the race. That's too bad. So something happened there. Obviously. 15th, Del Piccolo. He is out of the race. So perhaps a coming together of some kind occurred. And then Sabre. So we have 2 new retirements in Johnny Aces and Del Piccolo. So that's really too bad. Here's the closest battle on the circuit right now between Slapinski and Brian Janik. You'll recall earlier that Slapinski lost his front wing and had to come in. Coming down to the final turn here. And remember that Ślepinski's running with last year's spec Ferrari engine versus the Judd engine that is in Janek's car, so there's a bit of a horsepower advantage there for Ślepinski. Very smooth power application by Ślepinski here. Ślepinski. Very nice negotiation of Brewery Bend. Hairpin. So he'll have reasonably fresh tires as well. Oh, Janek made a mistake there. He went off the edge of the course. So that will gain probably a second there for Ślepinski. Yeah, he's definitely gained some time there. A slight miscue by Janek. And Ślepinski will have seen that, and that'll just give him an added incentive to keep charging forward. He's definitely closer now. Back now for Brian Janek's car. Janek gathered things up right away after that slight miscue. That's the thing, you don't want to compound a problem making a second or third mistake. Puffs of smoke there from Janek as he's under braking. This car is shod with Pirelli tires. The car Ślepinski's driving is Goodyear's. Coming down to the final turn once again. And Ślepinski definitely is closing. It's just a matter of getting close enough. He's only little more than a second away. But he's negotiating these turns and the curbs really, really well. So if he can keep things clean, he might be able to reel in Janek here. Right-hand turn. Sixth gear. Looks like they have a car that they have to lap up here. So that might be sauce for the goose, we'll see. It's Wilkes in the LaRousse ahead here. And he's got a very twitchy back end there, Ślepinski, but he's able to keep it under control. That's the key. A loose car can be a fast car, but you've got to control it. Janek will be looking to get around Ślepinski as fast as he can. Oh no! Oh my goodness! That was the front wing of Janek. He ran into the back of Ślepinski. I'm sorry, not Ślepinski. He ran into the back of Wilkes. Let's look at a replay of that. He was not prepared for the braking of Wilkes there, and he ran straight into the back of Wilkes. Hopefully Wilkes didn't receive too much damage from that, but Ślepinski's like, I'll take that 8th place, thank you. And Janek now has got to go to the pits and get that replaced. He's already done his one pit stop, so this is going to be very costly for Janek, unfortunately. He is just trying to get it back to the pits. The car is going to be understeering like mad. And he has to bring it in and fix that wing. He's going to be at least one lap down, maybe two, by the time this is done. And Wilkes slips by there. I think Wilkes might have been trying to give him some room or leeway, but Janik just simply was not prepared for the closure rate that occurred there, and he ran right into the back of Wilkes. Lost his front wing. That's really too bad. Ślepinski continues in 8th. Kirsten 7th. Centorami is in 6th. 5th is Grant. Team is still soldiering on in 4th place. Nilsson, the gap is about the same from him to Ray Riddall. It's it's about 8 seconds now, which is what it was when the pit stops ended. So now we have a 2nd place Ray Riddall, thanks to better pit work and or better pit strategy. He is in 2nd place, but he's so far behind Jules at this point, and I find it hard to believe that Jules would stop for tires now. With the race more than halfway done, I would have. I don't think he's going to be doing that. That's not his plan. So he's 26 seconds in front. He's got lots of cushion there. He doesn't have to drive on the edge. He can drive like 8 or 9 tenths and still cruise home to a victory here. Of course, all of this for Jules coming a bit too late. When he started the year, he was with Jordan and didn't like the car. Had he started the year with McLaren, he switched over to McLaren at one point mid-year and then just immediately started scoring points. If he had started the year with McLaren, he might have been a good foil for Ray Riddall, but it was not to be. It's not how it played out. So Jules now hoping he's going to get a moral victory here. Ray going around Giovanni, and he's 26 seconds in arrears, but it does appear that Anders may be slowly starting to reel Ray Riddall in. He's about 7 seconds back now. Before he was 8, so we'll have to keep an eye on this and see what happens. Team is a further 42 seconds back in 4th place, so he's going to be depending on somebody having a DNF in order to get higher than 4th, I think. And then we have 5th and 6th, the Tyrrells, which are reasonably close together. 12 seconds between the two of them. Kirsten is in 7th place, up 3 positions from the start. He was 10th then. Ślepinski 8th. And Janik, actually, even with his pit stop to fix the wing, he's in 9th place still, but 50 seconds behind 8th place. So, my goodness, that shows you what happens when you have to stop to get a wing changed or a wing replaced. You lose lots and lots of time. So he got out a bit faster than I thought he would, but he's got a full lap on Oscar team, who is in 10th place. 11th place is Mark Matthias Whitman. 12th, Drexler is now out of the race. My goodness, so we're having a multitude of retirements here. Wilkes is still in the race. He'll eventually rise up to 12th place, but only 12 cars left in the race. That means we have 10 retirements. There's Wilkes in 13th. I'm not sure what happened to him at the start. Something put him back. I mean, he is actually up on his grid spacing. He's up 5 places, but he had some kind of incident occur that put him way down the field at the start. So he's multiple laps behind the race. So it may be a good time now, since things are pretty quiet, to do the trivia question. So the trivia question was, in the actual 1991 Australian Grand Prix, how many drivers retired before the race was stopped due to heavy rain? Was it A, 6, B, 9, C, 12? Time is up, but I'm going to wait a little bit here for people to give their answer on the YouTube chat. Barry Lynn says C. KO says B. Scooby says B. So we got 2 B's and 1 C. Does anybody else want to chime in before we reveal the answer? Well, the interesting part of this is that it was a very wet race, as you can see from the photo there, and so you would tend to guess there would be a lot of retirements. But unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, you guys are wrong. It was not 9, it was not 12, it was actually 6 cars and 6 drivers. Pierluigi Martini, Michael Schumacher, Jean Alesi, Nicola Larini, Thierry Boutsen, and Satoru Nakajima. Sorry. Wrong. Okay, back to the race. Wilkes actually he's advanced to 12th now on those retirements that were just ahead of him. It just took him a while to get closer. He is 3 laps behind the race, which is actually better than he was at the start. I think the pit stops that occurred had him gain maybe 1 or 2 of those laps back. I don't know. And Whitman, who has not had a very good finishing rate this year, is in 11th place, which is surprisingly good for him. Usually he's out of the race by now, I've mentioned before, due to some scrap or some kind of incident with a wall or something. Here is Oscar Team in 10th place, also very unusual for him. He's not in the best of luck in this series. Janik still soldiering on in 9th place, but he had to stop and remove that wing. I'm afraid I'm going to have to step away just for a moment here. And given the fact that there's not much battle going on, it looks like we'll be able to. So please stand by. I'll be back in just a minute. back, and there's Wilkes overtaking some back markers. Let's go back to the front here, see how we're doing. Jules now leads, well, it's still the same. He leads by 8 seconds. No, actually, wait a minute. That means, you know what must have happened? Jules must have made his pit stop. Because now he's 8 seconds ahead. So he made his solitary stop that he was supposed to have made, and that still leaves him 7 seconds in front of Ray, and he's going to have the nicer tires, the cleaner tires. And Anders is 7 seconds back. That was the gap that was close to 7 seconds. Anders is in third. Team in fourth. Fifth is Grant Riddall. So the order really hasn't changed at the front here. Just it looks that one stop was made by our leader, but he had plenty in hand to do it. So it appears that he can cruise home to a win if everything goes the way it's supposed to. Yep, pretty much everything the same at the back here. So the question now is, well, this is interesting. The gap now is closing between Grant and John, so there might be a battle here. As you see John exiting the turn there, there's Grant making a stop. Interesting. It's a bit late for a tire stop. These are also Pirelli P0s, so maybe they are not lasting as long as Grant wants them to. Out he goes. There was a bit of a yellow flag there. I wonder what's going on. Do I see anybody with any problem? No. No, so I'm not sure what that's about. So yeah, the Tyrrell cars are actually much closer together now. So we might have an intramural battle here. And then just up the road from them is... looks like a car they might be lapping. Yes, it is. It's Wilkes. Wilkes gets out of the way. I think that yellow flag is just simply for a slow-moving car in the name of Wilkes. Although the yellow continues up here, I don't know that. Yeah, there was a problem here. Janik appeared to have something happen there. Nilsson! Nilsson is out of the race! No! What happened? My goodness! Nilsson was running in third place and now is definitely out of the race. We'll have to go back and see what happened here. This is what's so difficult about calling a race by yourself. You don't have a second pair of eyes to see what's going on here. And it appears it happened too long ago, but let's look at the car. Maybe it was, no, it was actually an accident because we could see pieces are missing. So Nilsson out of the race from an accident. That causes everybody to move up one spot. Ray is still in second. Third, John Team now, all the way from 22nd on the grid up to third place. Fourth is Centorami. Fifth is Grant. So Grant is following his teammate there. You can see just ahead. That's incredible. After qualifying on the pole, Nilsson finally has looks like they had to come in together with the wall at some point on the circuit. That's really too bad. Yeah, there are been the guy, you guys in the YouTube chat aren't wrong. We could end up with very few finishers because historically this race is very, very difficult to finish. It's a matter of survival, as one of you have pointed out, and there is another wing that is adrift on someone's car. I don't know who that is. That is let's have a look, see whose wing that could be. What is that? And a tire missing as well. It looks, I think those are actually the pieces left over from, those would be the pieces left over from Nilsson's car. So I think we've pieced some of the puzzle together. We know that he had an incident on this corner. So there's another yellow flag. I don't know if somebody else had an issue here. But, my goodness. Oh! Right there! Oscar Team. Oscar Team has lost a front wing. So he is going to have to come to the pits to get that fixed, no question about it. Let's see where this actually happened. Well, it happened long before. Oh, it must have happened on Brewery Bend. Let's have a look here. Oh my goodness, he actually ran into a Tyrrell. So there are going to be two cars with trouble here. Oscar Team, Brewery Bend. Oh my goodness! It looks as if Centurami had an incident before he even got there. Centurami runs wide, hits the barrier, comes back on the track and hits Oscar. So Oscar was an innocent party and he was lucky to get away with everything, but that means that, my goodness, that means that Centurami is now out of the race as well. Goodness gracious sakes alive. So suddenly, though there are some people who were out of the points and now are in the points. Houston up to 5th place after all that. 6th now is Schlapinski. 7th is Janik. 8th, Centurami, but he'll be dropping down that list. Goodness gracious. So we may even see a situation where Wilkes gets into the points here. He's several laps down. Not enough, I think, to keep him from being classified, but still. And here's Oscar in the pits getting his wing attended to. That's incredible. Whitman up to 10th now, and there goes Janik overtaking him. That is that is actually a lapping situation. I'm not sure why Whitman doesn't just let him go by. Because Whitman is 10th, Janik is 7th. So why is Whitman holding up Janik? I have no idea. So if I'm in Brian's cockpit, I'm pretty frustrated right now. Whitman looks like he's making room now, finally. Okay. Oh, and goodness, Brian shows him the back of his car there, evidently not very happy, and Whitman tries on the... What is he doing? He is in 10th place. There is no battle here. Finally, Janik gets by, but that's... the stewards may want to look at that. That's not... that was not the greatest of exchanges there between Whitman and Janik. Another yellow flag here. Not sure if that's for perhaps... But that is not, that car, actually Oscar's a lap behind, so that was not a pass for position there. The parts from Andrews' car still out on the circuit. Okay, well, we actually do have a battle here now. Now that Janik got past Schlapinski. These are two guys that have suffered damage and made pit stops they didn't want to make. And they're close now to possibly competing with each other, but Grant now is the lone Tyrrell, so he's not his own. And we've got Team. The team is lapped by Bouchard there. He's actually a lap in our ears of our leader. Ray is, and the gap is increasing. Ray is 14 seconds behind. Before it was about 7 seconds. So it appears that Jules has got this race pretty well in hand. Janik once again getting close to Schlapinski. Let's see if he can reel him in at all in this lap. Closer and closer here. Back now from Schlapinski. Janik definitely getting closer here through this section. He seems to like this bit better than Schlapinski. Oh! And Schlapinski just let him go by. Well, there's a lap difference there. That's my fault. I apologize. So, didn't realize there was a lap difference there between the two. My mistake. So the nearest competition now is Kirsten in 5th, and he's trying to chase down Grant Riddall, 5-second gap. You can't even see him at this point. Still a 13-second gap there, so. And Ray has got, my goodness, a minute gap. Minute 8 seconds between himself and the third place car for John Team. Those are the 3 cars that are on the lead lap. Well, no, actually, no. There are 2 cars in the lead lap now. Team in the background there has been lapped by Bouchard. So Bouchard and Ray Radal are the only 2 cars in the lead lap now. That's the pace that this race has been at in the front. 65 laps complete. We're working lap 66. Uh-oh, Ślepinski, yellow flag. What happened here? Is Ślepinski out of the race? Let's see what happened here. Oh, he runs wide and hits the barrier. Oh, goodness, that will be the end of the race for Cezarius Ślepinski. He hits the barrier outside Brewery Bend, and he's out of the race. Oh, goodness. That is just too bad. Here comes Janik, 7th place, so eventually he will be in the points in his Dallara. How many people are going to finish this race? We've got 9 cars still running at this point. That's including the retirement that just occurred. Janik is 3 laps ahead of 8th place and doesn't have to worry, so it's just a matter now of catching up to where Ślepinski was when that incident happened. It may be right up here. Or he may have 1 more lap to go. We'll see if he goes up to 6th here as he goes through Brewery Bend. No, he's got another lap until that happens, it appears. Nope, there it is, 6th. And he is 1 lap behind 5th place. So Brian, the only way he's going to advance into the top 5 is if something goes wrong with one of the front runners. But Janik now into the points in 6th place. So perseverance paying off for the Detroit Demon. Whitman, if he keeps going, could find himself in the points if something else happens here. He's in 8th place. But he's got to be careful. He can't go out of the race. Look at how many positions he's up since he started. 11 places. So it's been a great race for Whitman. He doesn't typically go this deep in a race. I've said that before, but very good driving by him. I don't know about that skirmish that he had with Janik earlier, where they were not in the same lap, but in any case, Whitman is in a position to potentially score points if something goes wrong, and he's being lapped now by the 2nd place Ray Radal. Lets him by without any incident. And here's Oscar, who's in 9th. So, and again, Oscar incurred some damage earlier when he was the unwitting victim of Centorami's accident. Oh, goodness! Whoa! Oscar has to be very careful. He doesn't want to do many more of those because there are certain parts of the track you can get away with that, but other parts where it's way too narrow and you cannot. Heading down the long straight now. So top 10 finishes for team, and Wilkes is now actually in 10th. So, but as Ślepinski falls through the field, that means that Whitman will eventually be 7th, Oscar will be 8th, and Wilkes 9th. So the potential for an AGS to score points is there if someone's engine lets go. Not that we're wishing that on anybody, but we still have a ways to go. 68 laps. We still have a good 12 or 13 laps to go, and anything can happen. Interesting here, you see Bouchard is slowing up, and team is right with him. The gap is 12 seconds, so it appears that Bouchard has taken it off the boil and is just kind of cruising home. So I think that's more of that than Ray catching him at this point. Anders pointing out on the YouTube chat that if Jules wins, that he will lose second place in the points race. True. These two running in close formation now and really just trying to bring it home. Indeed, John may be moving faster than Jules at this point, but he's holding station behind him. There's no point in overtaking him or challenging him. Although, wait a minute, here he goes. Right with Jules. Is he trying to unlap himself? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of risky stuff. I don't know that I'd be doing that. But he does appear to be going faster than Jules at this point. Jules is probably, as I said, taking it off the boil and not really... If I were Jules, I'd just let him go at this point. If John is that intent on finishing on the lead lap. Yeah, John is driving with much more verve than Bouchard at this point. And there really is, I don't really understand the point. He's 30 seconds ahead of fourth place. He's a minute and 9 seconds behind second place. I don't see that he's going to make much difference in 10 laps time. I wonder why he's doing that. But okay, so we now have Whitman up into 7th place. He's finally completed enough laps to get by the position that was occupied by Ślepinski, and Ślepinski's still in 8th. Eventually, Oscar Team will be in 8th, and Wilkes will be in 9th place. 9 cars left on the racetrack right now. And Janik is going to very quietly cruise it home, I'm sure. He's a lap behind 5th place and 3 laps ahead of 7th place, so there's really no need for him to push very hard. On the other hand, Nicholas Kirsten does have some incentive. He's 5 seconds behind, but I think that was the way it was before. 5 seconds behind Grant Riddall, and that hasn't changed much. In fact, it's going up a bit, so... And Grant does have, he could potentially catch Team. Maybe that's why Team keeps moving. That's why. There's the answer. No, hang on a minute. It's 32 seconds. I'm looking at the 5th place gap. The 5th place gap is the one that's 5. 32 seconds is the gap from the Tyrrell to the McLaren. So again, I'm not sure why Team is pushing so hard. Maybe that's the only speed he knows to go. Some drivers are like that. This is the only real battle in the circuit right now, and if you can call it that. It's a 5-second gap between Kirsten and Grant Riddall. That right there, I believe, is Grant Riddall. Yes, it is. And the gap is down to 4 seconds now, so Nicholas Kirsten is closing. But the question is he closing fast enough? Oh my goodness, he missed a shift there. He doesn't want to do much of that. And as we've seen before with other drivers who have this HB engine like Yuha Boss, these engines are not indestructible. Coming through the final turn, and did that cost him any time? A little bit. It's back up to 5 seconds again. The gap staying at about 5 seconds. There he goes. Yep. Yeah, about a 5-second gap. Staying pretty solid. Janik. Oh, this is interesting. Janik now has to make way for the leaders, who are still running in tandem, even though one is a lap ahead of the other. Blue flags waving. Probably going to let them by right at the corner here. No, not exactly. Now he lets them by. Three laps between Whitman and Janik. Janik is nothing to worry about. So the leaders now are working lap 76. So we're closing in on the end of this race and the end of the 1991 F1 season. This has been an excellent season. Definitely dominated by Ray and the Williams-Renault, but there have been some excellent races throughout. Lots of fun to watch. Whoa, goodness. That would not be cool if the McLarens took each other out before the race was over. But Bouchard showing what he might have been able to do if he had gotten this car earlier in the season rather than mid-season. I think it was slightly before mid-season that he switched over from Jordan to this car, but once he did, he really started to make hay. And maybe if he had done it sooner, he would have been able to challenge Ray for the championship, but that's a big what if, we don't know. It was nice to see John Team get a victory in Japan last time out, because he hasn't had any good luck with this car, or very little good luck throughout the rest of the season, and that was his first win of the season driving the number 2 McLaren. So and then of course Ray, who's been leading the championship most of the way on the strength of several victories, really gelled with this car, but he's quick to point out that he put in a lot of work on the setups and made sure that the car was ready to race and ready to win. Although there was at once a famous quote by Nigel Mansell about that Williams FW14 that he said you could put a puppet in the car and it would win. But it's not as easy as that, obviously. curious. These two keep going at it. Yeah, you see with team this back end all hanging out. It doesn't make much sense to me. So we got, after this lap, 79, 80, and 81. So 4 laps to go right now, 3.5. Three laps to go. 3 laps to go. Both drivers getting some air there. By this time, 2 laps to go. And there's the gap between Grant and Nicholas Kirsten. It's still about 5 seconds, a little less than 5. So he's not making any headway there, unfortunately. And it looks as if Whitman is going to finish just out of the points. In fact, he's got Janik closing on him here. I don't think Janik will want to engage him after what happened before. No point. Well, as we bring the curtain down on this series, lots of people to thank. Definitely Wilkes for the physics work that he always does. Also, thanks to Martin Lacina for his help with some of the tracks, most notably Silverstone, which was a completely new build. That's one reason to do the touring car race next week, is because we're using, again, another iteration of Silverstone that he's done. And here we come off the corner now. Oh my goodness, it looked like there was some contact there, but this is it, the final lap. And I'm sure, oh my goodness, there he goes. That's, I guess that's what the team was after all along. He wants to finish on the lead lap. So there he is, unlapping himself from Bouchard. And Bouchard's like, fine, if you want it, here, take it. Bouchard some 29 seconds ahead of second place Spray Riddall now, so nothing to worry about. And figures if he really wants it that bad, fine. They both negotiate Brewery Bend for the last time without incident. Heading now down to the hairpin, turning right, and then back to the left. Heading down to the last corner now. Last corner for the season. And the checkered flag comes out, and coasting across the line is Jules Bouchard. He wins the Australian Grand Prix for McLaren. That's the final victory for this 1991 season. Great drive by Jules from start to finish. And wow, things got a bit more crazy there than we thought they would get. But here comes Ray Radal with Grant just behind him. And Ray will finish in second place. And there's Grant coming across in fourth place. So he's going to be finished. Here's Team in third place on his final lap. He got that. He got back in the lead lap, so he has to do the 81st lap to finish the race. I guess he really, really wanted to be in the lead lap. So here comes John with just a few more corners to go. Out of the last corner now. Fishtailing, and there he is, taking the flag to finish third in this race. Fourth already is Grant, and he's already crossed the line. He doesn't really care what he does to the machinery at this point. Fifth was Kirsten. Sixth, Brian Janik. Seventh, Mark Whitman, just out of the points. Eighth, Oscar Team. And those were the cars that were finished, that finished the race. These are all the DNFs. Cesarius Lipinski. Well, Wilkes was not a DNF. Wilkes was actually, that's interesting. Lipinski finished just ahead of him even though he was out of the race. Wilkes was the last car running. These are the DNFs. Giovanni Santarami, Anders Nilsson, Mikael Drexler, Jonathan Asterclinth, Gabriel Del Piccolo, David Saber, Robin DeVos, Salvatore Sirignano, David Wattman, Simon Wattman, Ruben Fernandez, and Philippe Wietzek, the last car. First retirement. So that was the Australian Grand Prix, a great finish to the season and a great victory for Jules Bouchard. It won't be televised, but we have one more event to finish out our 2024 schedule, and that is going to be the supporting race for the British Grand Prix 1996. British Touring Cars, round 13 of 13 in the BTCC season. Sunday, December 15th, race start for race number 1 is at 2000 CET. So, thanks everybody for tuning in. Final race for the 1991 series. And this is the last broadcast for 2024 as far as I'm concerned. So, thanks everybody for watching and following us on YouTube. We enjoy putting on the show for you, and we're glad that you keep tuning in to watch. So, for everybody involved, I'm Jason White saying so long from Australia. Everybody take care and be safe.